What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema, and welcome to 31 Days of Horror. And today's topic is our tier ranking topic, and we're going to be doing a tier ranking of all horror subgenres. Not all of them, but I think I have around 30. I'm not sure. We'll get there once we hit the tier maker, and we'll go through all these subgenre, which is, we all like a certain breed of horror, right? Maybe some of us are slasher guys, some of us are psychological, some like monsters, some like zombies, werewolves, vampires, all that jazz. So we're going to do it, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. So don't forget to comment down below, like, subscribe, all that jazz. If you like these kind of rankings, if you like tier rankings, man, I have done a couple other tier rankings before. I haven't done a lot of them. I definitely would like to do a lot more. That's for sure. So without further ado, let's just get into the tier ranking. So here we are, guys. This is the tier rankings. We're going to be going through 25 subgenres to go through here. So, and I'm going to quickly go through our top is the best. So this is my favorite subgenres. You give me this kind of film, I'll watch it every time. Second is I need more. I want more films like this. I want more subgenres like this, attacking the subgenre. Third is take it or leave it. I can take the genre or I can leave it. It really depends how it's executed. Speaking of execution, number 4, don't typically like the genre, but it depends on how it's executed, right? And the worst. Number 5 being the worst. So this be a lot of fun. So our first one is alien and sci-fi movies, horror subgenre, alien abduction. Stuff like Dark Skies. Stuff like The Fourth Kind. I think a lot of people like Fire in the Sky. Then you got the Alien franchise. You could say The Fly and The Thing, even though they're combining body horror as well. But anything with a monstrous alien, and it's always cool to see. I always like this genre for the designs, seeing what kind of designs they're going to do, if they're an organic monster or anything like that. I think is pretty cool. But for alien and sci-fi, I could always use more. I love the genre, and I think we need more good ones anyway, like that for sure. Next up is animals and nature. I really like this genre actually. Sometimes it goes not so much horror, but thriller, like something like The Edge, Ghost in the Darkness, Congo. But the most famous one being Jaws. Fantastic movie, but if you're gonna do a movie about a shark, you got to have good characters to go with it. I find this genre usually does have a lot of good characters, but there's also a lot of bad movies in this genre that you'll find on Tubi. I mean, sometimes we put them on just to laugh at them, right? But for as far as a bear one goes, a survival bear movie, Backcountry is a really good one. Couple who gets lost in the woods, and the attack they show on this guy from the bear is really scary. Actually, it's quite frightening, and it gets quite gruesome. But stuff like that. Jaws, Backcountry, the Lake Placid movies. Crawl was pretty good. That was a fun, good time with the Crocs. But animals in nature, I'd say I need more. And when I say I need more good ones, right? Body horror. Right away, body horror, I could take it or leave it. Even though I love things like The Thing, I love The Fly. Whenever you see someone transforming, really grotesque stuff, a lot of times it's not for me. So it's more around take it or leave it. What they did in The Fly, that's body horror at its best. Body horror is a take it or leave it. Cannibal, not my genre at all, guys. The worst. Not very often, other than maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know what I mean? I like that movie, but not so much for the cannibal aspects of it. I haven't seen Cannibal Holocaust. This is a genre, it's the worst for me. I don't really care for it too much. Classic monsters. So we're talking like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, Creature of the Black Lagoon, which, can combine other genres as well, like Frankenstein's a creature feature, Black Lagoon's a creature feature. Dracula's, vampire, the Wolfman, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But you gotta give the respect to classic monsters. They really They really did set a base mark for horror. And there's something about going back to those movies and watching them and seeing how they still work. I mean, the story of Frankenstein is absolutely incredible. Like, that's actually my favorite. And the story about being the outcast, and how that is in our society today, you could relate. It's relatable, right? If you ever felt like you're alone, you're an outcast, you don't fit in, Frankenstein's relatable. He's this monster who's been put together by other serial killers and stuff like that, doesn't know who he is or what he is. A story that will stand the test of time. But as far as the universal monsters, classic monsters, I gotta give the respect. That's the best. And I always look forward to when they redo one of these, when they remake one of them, like Nosferatu coming out, I think in December. That should be a very interesting one. Next is cosmic horror. Now, cosmic horror is something that's, the unknown, I guess. A lot of times it has to do with space, it has to do with science fiction. Like recently, the last 5 years, Annihilation, cosmic horror, right? Event Horizon, cosmic horror. What's that one? Scarlett Johansson, Under the Skin. I know a lot of people like that one. Not so much for me, but cosmic horror, man, I don't know. I really don't know. Kind of thinking on my feet here, but I do like it. Like The Mist could be cosmic horror. So I'll say, like, I need more on this genre for sure. It's a good genre, but I want to see more of it. Devils and demons and hell. I certainly do like a lot of this stuff, like Exorcism of Emily Rose, like The Omen, The Exorcist, classic movies. And it seems like when they're good, they're very, very good. When they're bad, they're very, very bad, and it really is oversaturated for sure. So I will put it, take it or leave it. Not I like I this is where it gets weird for me. I do love the genre. I do. I like these kind of movies, but there's so many bad ones though, or so many ones that do the same thing over and over. So don't get me wrong, love the genre. I'm always up for something devilish. Like I said, the movies of this genre, when they're good, they're really good. But as far as like how I'm feeling it's a take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Found footage. Now, depends on execution for sure for me. I don't like this genre typically. I like the paranormal. I like the paranormal activity movies for sure. I do like I can appreciate Blair Witch Project now. I didn't so much like it back then. I liked VHS, which is also an anthology horror, but for the most part, it depends on the execution. Um I think Paranormal Activity is executed really well. VHS is executed really well. Even the Blair Witch Project to a certain point. But for the most part, I'm a kind of guy who likes things cinematically. I like when there's the cinematography, the art direction, the acting, everything's on point. They do have good acting, but I like something with a more engaging cinematic experience for sure. But they can be scary because they feel grounded and they feel real. All right. Ghosts and Spirits. This is another one that I do like, but it's saturated as hell. And more often than not, they don't execute them very well. So I'll say take it or leave it. But the ones I do like are awesome, like The Others, The Sixth Sense, What Lies Beneath. The Haunting of Hill House is the best thing I've ever seen in horror. I know that's more of a TV series, but if we look at the whole story as a movie kind of thing, but yeah, definitely take it or leave it. It really depends how much you really got to creep people out. You got to give us good characters and just a good story. And a lot of them think it's just about jump scares, and it's not, right? So that's how I feel about that one. Giallo. Um, I have not watched much Giallo. I have watched Suspiria. James Wan did Malignant. That was a very Giallo style of film. I really like that one. I'm gonna go on depends on execution. I've seen Bay of Blood. Is that what Maria Bravo? Mario Bravo? I can't remember the name. But I need to see more. So for now, I'll just put depends on the execution. Gothic horror. Now, Gothic horror is more about a setting, it's more about an atmosphere. Films like Sleepy Hollow, films like the Haunting of again, the Haunting of Hill House, the others got a really gothic feel to it. So anything where there's a nice setting to it. You could say that newer one, Abigail. kind of a vampire mixed with a gothic, and those two actually going hand in hand, right? Like Dracula Castle's very gothic, but as far as gothic horror, I'm feeling I need more. I think I just need more of it, you know what I mean? Because I really, really like the setting of a gothic horror film, for sure. Haunted House. So this is another one that I'm feeling mixed on. You know what I mean? Because I love haunted house stories. Like I said, The Haunting of Hill House, best thing I've ever seen. But again, I've been talking about the others, and The Sixth Sense, and you can say Evil Dead. Is kind of a haunting. Anywhere we get a haunted house, you put people in that haunted house, you scare the shit out of them. It really depends on execution. So I'm thinking take it or leave it for me. I like the look of a haunted house. Um, that what's that Michael Myers one, that Halloween one, that everyone hates. You know, Trick or Treat, motherfucker, where they're all in the house and everything. Resurrection, I think. That could have been a really good haunted house style movie, putting these bunch of characters in where Michael's walking around. Execution though, but in a way that could have been, a really stylistic haunted house film. Alien is kind of like a haunted house, but in space, right? So I do like it, but I'm gonna say take it or leave it. I know it's kind of funny because devil movies, ghosts, haunt. I really like these genres, I really do, but they're over saturated with generic shit going on in them. Home invasion. I do like a good home invasion for sure. I think I need more with this genre. You know what I mean? I did like The Strangers. I like both The Strangers movies. I think Hush is the best. I love that home invasion story because they put that Mike Flanagan puts a unique twist on it by saying this girl is can't hear a thing. So when the killer comes knocking on the door, it's a really unique thing that you can do some incredible things with, right? But yeah, home invasion is something I think I need to see more. I think what was it, Us? Us was kind of like a home invasion story. I didn't really like that one as much. Vacancy, with Luke Wilson and Kate Beckinsale. Really like that. It's like they're at a motel. It has this psycho atmosphere, but they go into this hotel, this couple, they're already at odds with each other. There's a lot of tension between them because they lost a son. They go into this hotel just for a night, just to get some sleep. And when the guy starts the VHS player up and he notices that they're snuff films, people killing each other, but it's filmed in the room they're staying at. So they start looking around. People start yapping on the door. You're like knocking really loud on the door. It creates a great sense of suspense, tension, but that's a really good one, actually. But home invasion, I need more, man. I want more of it. I don't think it's been saturated like some other genres. Horror comedy is an interesting one because I do like a lot of horror comedies that mix other genres. Return of the Living Dead's hilarious. Army of Darkness is hilarious. You know what I mean? Tremors is absolutely hilarious. Critters, you know what I mean? But I will say I'll take it or leave it because a lot of times humor and horror doesn't work for me. It depends how it really depends if they're saying this is a horror comedy and then you're like watching it like, I don't know about that. Like I watched Abigail recently and I wasn't expecting a horror comedy, but that's what it came off to me as a bit. I was thinking it was going to be a lot more serious movie, but there was actually more comedy in that than I thought. But horror comedy to me is like Shaun of the Dead. It's like Return of the Living Dead. A lot of zombie flicks actually are horror comedy. Army of Darkness, where it's slapstick, just having a good time, where it's not scary at all. So I got it and take it or leave it, I think. All right. Phobias and isolation. So Alien can be isolated. You know what I mean? Evil Dead in a way is isolated. Anywhere where you're stuck or you have a phobia, you could say arachnophobia, there's fear of spiders. You could say for isolation, you can admit something like Misery is a classic example where this writer can't go anywhere. He's stuck there, man. And when he starts seeing this unhinged woman, how crazy she is and what she's making him do, and the hobbling scene where she smashes his fucking ankles, it can be really scary. So phobia and isolation, I need more. I definitely need a lot more of it to really have a coherent in how I really feel about it. Possession, again, overdone, saturated, but I love possession movies. You could say Evil Dead's possession. In a way, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is possession. Because Freddy kind of taking over Jesse, right? Which was handled really well, I thought. a lot of the Exorcist kind of movies, Possession, The Conjuring, Exorcism of Emily Rose, you know what I mean? But it's again, it's a take it or leave it because I just find it's not executed well on most movies. Most are just turning, people will come and see it, they'll pay their money for cheap jump scares and all that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't work half the time. But the ones that are good, again, are great. This is a funny one. Backwoods and Redneck. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is very redneck, which I do like. The Wrong Turn franchise is just that's your typical cheap freaking redneck backwoods stuff that's not really scary. I do like the Devil's Rejects. That's very redneck like. You could say Friday the 13th Part 2 is Jason like a hillbilly, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I'm going to say take it or leave it. Like these really, it really depends. Sometimes I'm just like, if you say, "Oh, let's watch a redneck horror movie," well, I can take it or leave it. Slasher. We know where this is going, guys. If you know me, I mean, Friday the 13th is my favorite franchise. Psycho is the granddaddy of slasher films. Love Halloween, the original Halloween, anyway. Friday the 13th, just absolutely love. I'm always down for a slasher. Again, I know there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot, but even when they're kind of bad, they can be good. It does take me a long time of watching them before I'm kind of like, okay, I'm done with slashers for now. You know what I mean? But I love slasher films. Visiting Hours is a very underrated hospital slasher movie. And I will say with slashers, the way you keep the genre fresh, make it psychological. You got to keep making it psychological. That's why Nightmare on Elm Street redefined slashers, reinvigorated it. And that's why Nightmare on Elm Street is one of my favorite movies because of that, because it had so much to say, and it was a psychological, and it had the blood and everything like that. It had the gore. It had for all you gore hounds there. But slasher is definitely the best. Splatter. Now, splatter, I didn't even know what this genre was. I actually had to look it up. It's a blood fest. It's a gore fest, like Evil Dead 2. Recently, Terrifier 2. I did like that one. I didn't like everything about it, but I thought the final girl was amazing in it. And it's just a gore fest. And I do like gore fests. I liked them a lot more when I was a teenager. I'm more of a psychological horror kind of guy now. But I don't know. Splatterfests, again, it just depends. It really depends. It's a take it or leave it for me. I know I'm making it sound like most genres are take it or leave it, but it's really not true. But anyways, Supernatural. Now, Supernatural flicks. I really like this genre. Whether we're talking about The Ring, we're talking about The Others, What Lies Beneath, Exorcist movies, possession movies, whatever. Anything supernatural. Oculus, the one Mike Flanagan did, is really underrated. I'm going with the best. I like this genre more than other people like it, and I admit that. A lot of people feel it's full of cheap jump scares and stuff like that, and it is. There's a lot of bad out there, but for some reason, I gravitate towards supernatural horror a lot. I like the mystique and the mystery of it when it's executed well. And one thing I think we can all agree on is that when it's executed well, there's nothing better. Nothing better, man. It can be a great, great genre in the hands of somebody who knows how to navigate through it. Torture, ugh, not for me. The worst. There are some good ones, I guess, like Saw, but even as much as I like Saw, like that original anyway, I haven't watched really the rest of them. I'm not really big on people just getting out of traps, being tortured, or I mean stuff like Hostel was for me. I will say, is it 31? Rob Zombie did. Actually enjoyed that one just because I thought the villains were freaking crazy in it and everything, but a lot of torturous stuff going on there. But typically the genre does not work for me. Just the odd one I like something like Saw. Vampires. This is an interesting one. I love Dracula. Fright Night being my favorite vampire movie. The Lost Boys is a lot of fun. 30 Days a Night. I like vampires, but the vampires got to be vicious. That's the thing. I like my vampires vicious. I like these movies scary. Let the Right One In. That's actually more of a creepy kind of vampire film, more atmospheric and stuff like that, and a big sense of dread. But when you're talking like Twilight, fuck that shit. Don't like my vampires like that. I like them vicious, so um I'm always down for a vampire movie. I'll say I need more just because I need more good ones. I need more vicious vampires. So just so you know the context and where I'm coming from. Werewolves. Love the werewolf creature. I love the mythology of it. I love the lore of it. I'm always down for werewolves. Always. Every time there's a werewolf film, you can count me in for sure. So I'm going to say the best, definitely the best genre for me. I love the Wolfman, the Silver Bullet, the Howling, American Werewolf in London. I love what they did with Dog Soldiers. You can mix the genres. You can do a lot of thematically stuff with werewolf. You know what I mean? About the curse, about this person who didn't ask for this. Stan Lee, the Incredible Hulk, came out of the werewolf mythology. That's how he drew from it. So it can inspire too, and usually awesome practical effects. So I love the werewolf genre. Ugh, witches. I can't even read this, but witches and something occult maybe. I don't know. We'll just go with witches. Not for me, man. I'll put depends on execution because there's some I do like. Like I liked The Lords of Salem by Rob Zombie. I thought he went more that was more Rosemary's Baby like, I think it's his best directed film to be honest with you. It kind of goes off the rails near the end there, but I do like that one. The Autopsy of Jane Doe was a unique kind of thing on witches, but the one by Robert Eggers, The Witch, that wasn't really for me. I thought it was extremely boring, but I find witches extremely creepy. So depends on execution really for me. And last but certainly not least are zombies. We love good zombies, don't we? We love the zombies genre for sure. But yeah, I don't know about this one. This one kind of mixes with comedy. It can mix with several other genres. They're ones that stand out. I love Return to the Living Dead. Train to Busan is, man, that's one of my favorite horror films. I like a serious zombie flick a lot more, I would say. Um, at least the way I think now. I thought what Zack Snyder did with Army of the Dead was really interesting by making a king and a queen of the zombie mythology and everything. I thought that was really well done. His remake of Dawn of the Dead. I like my zombies freaking going full bloat running. You know what I mean? But what always made the zombie genre work is what was happening with the human characters, the decisions and where they had to go on their morality, where they had to go morally, right? Of decisions they had to make, like what they deal with in Dawn of the Dead, what they deal with in The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? So this is an interesting one. I don't need more. I don't think it's the best. It's a take it or leave it for me. So yeah, guys, that's where I'm sitting with all these. So if you just want a little recap, the best are classic monsters, slashers, supernatural, and werewolves. That's my jam right there when it comes to horror films. There really should have been a psychological horror section here. But anyways, you get my drift, right? So I need more alien, I need more animals, cosmic, gothic, home invasion, phobia and isolation, and vampires. Take it or leave it, body horror, devils, ghosts, haunted house, horror comedy, possession, backwoods, redneck, splatterfest, and zombies. Um, Depends on execution, found footage, Giallo, sorry, and witches. And the worst, cannibal and torture. Those are just not my genres whatsoever. So yeah, that's where I am sitting with the horror subgenre, guys. So that's it, guys. That's going to do it for me on 31 Days of Horror for this topic. I love doing this tier ranking with you guys. This was a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all these sub-genres. We'll have a good discussion about it. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I'll see you next time, and I'll see you in the movies. Cheers.